Oh, so easy. So this is not four. Oh, we are. But we're doing something first. As long as it's not the crazy graphing calculator that's like the new one that like remembers everything for you. Okay, so if you anybody not get one? So before your quiz, and I don't know why this did not make it into your workbook, it just didn't, okay? So this should technically be part of your workbook, but it's not. We're going to do this before your quiz so that when you are finished your quiz, you have something to do. Plus, this also reviews things like how to do conversion of rates. Yes, which is on your quiz. It's just this one happens to use metric prefixes. Okay, so this is like a little mini review for your quiz and using metric prefixes as we go. So when you are doing multi-step metric conversions, let's say you want to go from one prefix unit to another prefix unit. So that would be something like going from a centiliter to a kiloliter. Yes? You're going to, unless you know how to do it in one step, in which case I'll just let you do that yourself. Okay, totally fine. You're going to do it in two steps. You're going to take the centiliters and convert them to plain liters first. And then as your second step, you're going to convert it to kiloliters. But like I said, if you can do it in one step and you know how to do that, that's fine, but I'm not going to teach you that. Okay? If you started with milligrams and you wanted to go to micrograms, what would you go to in the middle? Grams. If you started with decimoles and you wanted to go to nanomoles, what would you go to in the middle? Moles. Okay? So we're going to do one relatively simple example, and then we'll do one relatively complicated example, and then I'll let you guys write your quiz. Does that sound okay? I'm recording already, so it's okay. Okay. So let's take a look at this example. We have 0.3700 micrograms, and we want to convert it to decigrams. So I'm going to do it over here. We have 0.3700, what did I say? Micrograms to decigrams. So instead of doing it in one step, we are going to do it in two steps. So we're going to take the microgram and convert it to the gram, and then we will convert it to the decigram. Okay? So we would say I want to find the number of decigrams, and I am starting with 0.3700 micrograms. What do I need to put on the bottom to cancel in order to get micrograms canceling and finding grams? What do I put on the bottom? Micrograms. And then on the top I put grams. Now, if you happen to have a highlighter or you want to circle it or something like that for yourself, I'm going to recommend that you highlight or circle your prefix. Okay? Now you're going to write in your power of 10. What is the power of 10 for micro? Micro is 10 to the -6. And you're going to write that where the micro is not. So if you have micro, don't write 10 to the -6 there, write it in the other spot. So if micro is on the bottom, you're going to write 10 to the -6 on the top. And if you highlight those two things, you should have a highlight on the top and a highlight on the bottom. Okay? If you don't need to do that to put things in the right place, that's totally fine. And if you use a different system, I know, Manning, you like to, and that's totally fine also. Okay? So that gives us grams. Now we want to convert to decigrams. So what do we need to put on the bottom of our next conversion factor? We want to cancel grams and find decigrams. I'm going to highlight my deci because I'm going to replace the deci on the bottom with a 10 to the, deci means 10 to the -1. Okay, and then I can highlight that and say, oh look, I have a prefix in one place and I have a power of 10 in the other place. Okay, if you prefer, you could do something like circle them instead or whatever, just to keep track for yourself. All right, I would do that and I would get whatever my final answer is. And I would type that into my calculator if I wanted to 0.37 times, and then in order to type in 10 to the -6, I would type 1e -6. And when I say e, what I mean is either EE or EXP or times 10 to the whatever. So I typed in 1e -6, and then I'm going to divide by 1e -1. 1e -1 equals, and I get 3.7 times 10 to the -6. Can I tell you what one of the most common mistakes students make is? They forget to draw in their times signs, okay? There's a few of you in here who I know have seen do that, so don't forget. And the other thing they forget is that they get to the end and they forget to write their unit. So we've canceled grams, we've canceled milligrams, and we are left with only decigrams. Okay, box your final answer so I know what you want me to look at, and there you go. Okay. Our next one, we want to convert, this is on our next page, 352 megagrams per kiloliter into, mute that sucker, there we go, into nanograms per centimeter cubed. First thing we want to do we want to leave them in that notation? No. So if you see something like this, you will want to rewrite it as 352 megagrams on the top and kiloliters on the bottom. And we want to convert that into nanograms on the top and centimeters cubed on the bottom. Probably the easiest way to do these problems. So if you find these tricky, I would say convert the top, convert the bottom, and then divide the top divided by the bottom. You will have a question like this on your quiz, okay? But it won't involve metric conversions unless I've given you the metric, like I would have to give you the actual conversion factor, okay? Because I haven't asked you to memorize that yet. So take the top. I want to convert 352 megagrams to nanograms. Do I do that in one step or do I do that in more than one step? Two steps. So I'm going to take megagrams, convert to, what do I convert to? Grams, and then finally to nanograms. Okay, so 352 megagrams. Here's another thing people do wrong. They write equals instead of times. Yes, when they're wanting to do a conversion. Okay, so times megagrams has to go on the bottom, and I'm wanting to find grams. My second conversion, I want to cancel grams and find nanograms. And I know that mega means 10 to the positive 6 and nano means 10 to the negative 9. So where it says mega, I'm not going to write the 10 to the 6 there. I'm going to write it up top, 10 to the 6. Where it says nano, I'm not going to write the 10 to the negative 9 there. I'm going to write it at the, on the other place, which is at the bottom in this case, 10 to the negative 9. Okay, and I could write in my ones if I wanted to. Okay, and that gives us, if we put it into our calculator, 352 times, and I will type in 1e6, divided by 1e negative 9. And I get 3.52 times 10 to the 17, and the only unit I have left is the nanogram. So I have converted the top. Now we're going to convert the bottom, okay? Now there's nothing in front of kiloliters here. How many kiloliters am I actually starting with? I have 352 megagrams per kiloliter. How many kiloliters is that? That's going to be just 1 kiloliter. So I'm starting with 1 kiloliter, and I want to find centimeters cubed. Now this looks horrible, yes? Like I'm starting with kiloliters, and now I have centimeters cubed. There's something, and of course for today's quiz you don't need this, but for our next one you will. You need to know that 1 milliliter is 1 centimeter cubed, okay? So again, like I said, that's not for today's quiz. You don't need to know that for today's quiz, but for future, you need to know that. So instead of going to centimeters cubed, I'm going to say I want to take my 1 kiloliter and convert that into milliliters. Which means, because this has a prefix and this has a prefix, I'm going to start with kiloliters. What will I convert it into? Liters. And from liters, I will convert it into milliliters. Okay? So 1 kiloliter. I want to convert to liters, so cancel my kiloliters. Liters, I want to convert into milliliters, so cancel the liters and find milliliters. Kilo means 10 to the 3. Milli means 10 to the negative 3. Here's kilo, so I'm going to put my 10 to the 3 up top. Here's milli, so I'm going to put my 10 to the negative 3 on the bottom. And we get 1 times 10 to the power of 6. And my unit is the milliliter. So now I have the top and I have the bottom. What do I do with the top and the bottom? I divide. So I take the top and divide by the bottom. Okay, so that would be 3.52 times 10 to the negative 7, or sorry, positive 17 nanograms divided by 1e6 milliliters. And that gives me 3.52 times 10 to the 11 nanograms per milliliter. And then I could show my conversion to centimeters cubed, or I can just replace milliliters with centimeters cubed because they are the same. And so I can say, therefore, we now have 3.52 times 10 to the 11 nanograms per centimeter cubed. And that's as bad as it would ever get. Yeah? Yeah. You could also do it all in one line. If you feel good about doing it all in one line, do it all in one line. I'm not going to show you that right now because I feel like it'll just give you way too much before your quiz. Okay, but basically, if you need the rest of class to write the quiz, that's fine. You can use all that time. I have an incorrect conversion factor on your quiz. Do you know what I wrote on your quiz? This is how brain dead I was this morning when I was making it up. I wrote 1 gram is equal to 1,000 kilograms. Whoa! Even if you don't know most of your metric prefixes yet, you probably know that that one is not correct. What should it say instead? 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. Okay, so when I give you your quiz, question number 4, although it says question 4, it should say question number 3, because apparently I was so awesome, I numbered your quiz 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. Okay, so it's getting better and better. Okay, so it is question number 4, but it comes before question number 3 because I'm just that awesome. Okay, don't forget your time signs. Don't forget to box your final answer. Don't forget that you want the correct sig figs. And don't forget you want the units in both the work and answer. Okay? So if you would like, you can put away all your stuff. Oh, and you'll notice if you're done your quiz early, you can take a little mental break and then you could do that work in Hebden. There are Hebdens on the cart and at the back of the room, okay? But Yes. Don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. Where did I put the rest of them? And don't forget, down at number 4 on the front page, cross out 1 gram equals 1,000 kilograms and write 1,000 grams equals 1 kilogram.